Just out of curiosity, what IDE do you use? Let's talk about like your whole setup. Given how ultra productive you are, and that you often program in your underwear, slouching on the couch, does it matter to you in general? Is there like a specific IDE you use VS Code?
Yeah, VS Code. Before I use Sublime Text, I don't think it matters a lot. I think I'm very skeptical of like tools when people think they say it matters, right? I don't think it matters. I think whatever tool you know very well, you can go very, very fast in. Like, the shortcuts, for example, IDE, like I love Sublime Text because I could use like multi-cursor. You search something and then I could like make mass replaces in a file with the cursor thing. And VS Code doesn't really have that as well.
It's actually interesting. Sublime is the first editor where I've learned that. Yeah. And I think they just make that super easy. So like, what would that be called? Multi-edit, multi-cursor edit thing, whatever. So good. I'm sure like almost every editor can do that. It's just probably hard to set up.
Yeah. VS Code's not so good at it, I think. Or at least I tried. But I would use that to like process data, like data sets, for example, from World Bank. I would just multi-cursor mass change everything. But yeah, VS Code. I was bullied into using VS Code because Twitter would always see my screenshots of Sublime Text and say, "Why are you still using Sublime Text? Like, boomer, you need to use VS Code." And I'm like, "Well, I'll try it." I got a new MacBook, and then I never install I never copy the old MacBook. I just make it fresh, like a clean, like Format C, Windows, like clean start. And I'm like, okay, I'll try VS Code, and it's stuck, But I don't really care. Like, it's not so important for me.
Wow, the Format C reference, huh?
Dude, it was so good. You would install Windows, and then after 3 or 6 months, it would start breaking, and everything was like, it got slow. Then you would restart, go to DOS, Format C, you would delete your hard drive, and then install the Windows 95 again. It was so good times. And you would design everything like, now I'm going to install it properly. Now I'm going to design my desktop properly, like.
Yeah, I don't know if it's peer pressure, but like I used Emacs for many, many years. And I know, I love Lisp. So a lot of the customization is done in Lisp. It's a programming language. It partially was peer pressure, but part of it is realizing like you need to keep learning stuff. Like the same issue with jQuery. Like I still think I need to learn Node.js, for example.
Yeah.
Even though that's not my main thing or even close to the main thing, but I feel like you need to keep learning this stuff. And even if you don't choose to use it long term, you need to give it a chance. So your understanding of the world expands.
Yeah, you want to understand the new technological concepts and see if they can benefit you, It would be stupid not to even try.
It's more about the concepts, I would say, than the actual tools, like expanding. And that can be a challenging thing. So going to VS Code and like really learning it, like all the shortcuts, all the extensions, and actually installing different stuff and playing with it, that was an interesting challenge. It was uncomfortable at first.
Yeah, for me too, yeah.
Yeah, but you just dive in.
It's like Neuroflex, like you keep your brain fresh, like this kind of stuff.
I got to do that more. Like, have you given React a chance?
No, but I want to learn it. I understand the basics, right? I don't really know where to start.
But would you I guess you got to use your own model, which is like build the thing using it.
No, man, so I kind of did that. Like I kind of like the stuff I do in jQuery is essentially, a lot of it is like, I start rebuilding whatever tech is already out there, not based on that, but just on accident. Yeah. Like I keep coding long enough that I start getting the same problems everybody else had, and you start building the same frameworks kind of. So I use my own kind of framework of.
So you basically build a framework from scratch that's your own, that you understand it.
Kind of, yeah, with Ajax calls, but essentially it's the same thing. Look, I don't have the time. I think saying you don't have the time is like always a lie because you just don't prioritize it enough. My priority is still like the running the businesses and improving that and AI. I think learning AI is much more valuable now than learning a front end framework.
Yeah,
like it's just more impact.
I guess you should be just learning every single day a thing.
Yeah, you can learn a little bit every day, like a little bit of React, or I think now like Next is very big, so learn a little bit of Next, But I call them the military industrial complex. So but you need to know it anyway. So.
You got to learn how to use the weapons of war, and then you could be a peacenik. Yeah. I mean, but you got to learn it in the same exact way as we were talking about, which is learn it by trying to build something with it and actually deploy it.
The frameworks are so complicated and it changes so fast. So it's like, where do I start? And I guess it's the same thing when you're starting out making websites. Like, where do you start? Yeah, GPT-4, I guess. But it's just so dynamic. It changes so fast that I don't know if it would be a good idea for me to learn it. Maybe some combination of like Vue Next with PHP Laravel. Laravel is like a framework for PHP.
Mhm.
I think that would be it could benefit me. Maybe Tailwind for CSS, like a styling engine. That stuff could probably save me time.
Yeah, but like you won't know until you really give it a try, and it feels like you have to build. Like, if maybe I'm talking to myself, but like I should probably recode like my personal one page in Laravel, or
Yeah.
and even though it might not have almost any dynamic elements, maybe have one dynamic element, but it has to go end to end in that framework.
Yeah.
Or like end to end build it in Node.js. Some of it is figuring out how to even deploy the thing. Like,
I have no idea.
Stack?
All I know is right now it's send it to GitHub and it sends it to my server. I don't know how to get JavaScript running. I have no clue.
Yeah.
So I guess I need like a pass, like Versal, right? Or Heroku, kind of those kind of platforms.
I actually kind of just gave myself the idea of like, I kind of just want to build a single web page, like one web page that has like one dynamic element, and just do it in every single, like in a lot of frameworks, like just
on the same page.
Same.
The same page. That's
kind
smart.
of page.
That's a cool project.
Like,
you can learn all these frameworks.
Yeah.
And you can see the differences.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
How long it takes to do it.
Yeah, stopwatch.
I have to figure out actually something sufficiently complicated, because it should probably do some kind of thing where it accesses the database and dynamically is changing stuff.
Some AI stuff, some LLM stuff.
Yeah, maybe some. It doesn't have to be AI LLM, but maybe
do API call.
API call to something
to replicate, for example, and then you have that would be a very cool project.
Yeah, and like time it, and also report on my happiness.
Yeah,
I'm going to totally do this.
Because nobody benchmarks this. Nobody's benchmarked developer happiness with frameworks.
Yeah.
Nobody's benchmarked the shipping time.
I would just take like a month and do this. How many frameworks are there? There's there's like 5 main ways of doing it. So there's like, there's back end, front end.
And this stuff confused me too. Like React now apparently has become back end.
Yeah.
Or something used to be only front end. And you're forced to do now back end also. I don't know.
And then, but you're not really forced to do anything. So like, according to the internet, so like there's no, it's actually not trivial to find the canonical way of doing things. So like the standard vanilla, like you go to the ice cream shop, there's like a million flavors. I want vanilla. If I've never had ice cream in my life, can we just like learn about ice cream?
Yeah.
I want vanilla. Nobody actually, sometimes they'll literally name it vanilla, but like, I want to know what's the basic way, but not like dumb, but like the standard canonical.
Yeah, I want to know the dominant way. Like the dominant 60% of developers do it like this.
Yeah.
It's hard to figure that out, That's the problem.
Yeah, maybe LLMs can help. Maybe you should explicitly ask, what is the dominant?
They usually know like the dominant. They give answers that are like the most probable kind of.
Yeah.
So that makes sense to ask LLM. And I think honestly, maybe what would help is if you want to learn, or I would want to learn like a framework, hire somebody that already does it and just sit with them and make something together. Like I've never done that, but I thought about it. So that would be a very fast way to, take their knowledge, put it in my brain.
I've tried these kinds of things. What happens is, it depends what kind of, if they're like a world-class developer, yes. Oftentimes they themselves are used to that thing and they have not themselves explored in other options. So they have this dogmatic, like talking down to you.
Yes.
Like, this is the right way to do it.
Yeah.
It's like, no. We're just like exploring together. Okay, show me the cool thing you've tried, which is like, it has to have open-mindedness to like, Node.js is not the right way to do web development. It's like one way. Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with the old LAMP, PHP, jQuery, vanilla JavaScript way. It just has its pros and cons, and like you need to know what.
Yeah, but those people exist. You could find those people probably.
Yeah.
Like if you want to learn AI, imagine you have Karpati sitting next to you, teaching you like he does his YouTube videos. It's amazing. He can teach it to like a 5-year-old about how to make LLM. It's amazing. Like imagine this guy sitting next to you and just teaching you like, let's make LLM together. Like holy shit, it would be amazing.
Yeah, I mean, well, Karpati has its own style and his own, like, I'm not sure he's for everybody. For example, 5-year-old, it depends on the 5-year-old.
Yeah, but
he's like super technical.
But he's amazing because he's super technical and he's the only one who can explain this stuff in a simple way, which shows his complete genius.
Yes.
Because if you can explain it without jargon, you're like, wow.
And build it from scratch.
Yeah, it's like top tier, like what a guy.
But he might be anti-framework because he built from scratch.
Exactly. Yeah, actually, probably is. Yeah.
He's like you, but for AI.
Yeah, so maybe learning a framework is a very bad idea for us. Maybe we should stay in PHP and like script kiddie and.
But you have to maybe by learning the framework, you learn what you want to yourself build from scratch.
Yeah, maybe you learn concepts, but you don't actually have to start using it for your life, right? Yeah.
And you're still a Mac guy. What was a Mac guy?
Yeah. I switched to Mac in 2014 because it was because when I wanted to start traveling, and my brother was like, "Dude, get a MacBook. It's like the standard now." I'm like, "Wow, I need to switch from Windows." And I had like 3 screens, like Windows. I had this whole setup for music production. I had to sell everything, and then I had a MacBook. And I remember opening up this MacBook box, like, and it was so beautiful. It was like this aluminium, and then I opened it. I removed the screen protector thing. And it's so beautiful. And I didn't touch it for 3 days. I was just like looking at it, really. And I was still on the Windows computer. And then I went traveling with that. So and all my great things started when I switched to Mac, which sounds very dogmatic, right? But
what great things are you talking about?
All the businesses started working out. Like I started traveling. I started building startups. I started making money. It all started when I switched to Mac.
Listen, I kind of. You're making me want to switch to Mac. So I either use Linux inside Windows with WSL or just Ubuntu Linux. But Windows for most stuff like editing or any like Adobe products,
stuff, right?
Yeah. Well, I guess you could do Mac stuff there. I wonder if I should switch. What do you miss about Windows? What was the pros and cons?
I think the Finder is horrible on Mac. Like it's
what is horrible?
The Finder. Oh, you don't know the Finder. So there's the Windows Explorer.
Yeah.
Windows Explorer is amazing.
Finder
is strange, man. There's like strange things. There's this bug where if you send like attach a photo on WhatsApp or Telegram, it just selects the whole folder and you almost accidentally can click enter and you send all your photos, all your files to this chat group. Happened to my girlfriend. She starts sending me photo. So Finder is very unusable, but it has Linux. Like the whole thing is like it's Unix based, right?
So you use the command line?
All the time. Huh. And the cool thing is you can run, I think it's like Unix, like Debian or whatever. You can run most Linux stuff on macOS, which makes it very good for development. Like I have my Nginx server. If I'm not lazy and set up my staging on my laptop, it's just the Nginx server, the same as I have on my cloud server, right? The same where the websites run. And I can use almost everything, the same config files, configuration files. And it just works. And that makes Mac a very good platform for Linux stuff, I think.
Yeah.
Course, real Ubuntu is like better, of course, but
yeah. I'm in this weird situation where I'm somewhat of a power user in Windows and let's say Android, and all the much smarter friends I have all using Mac and iPhone. And it's like,
but you don't want to go to the peer pressure,
It's not peer pressure. It's like one of the reasons I want to have kids is that there's a lot of like I would love to have kids as a baseline, but there's like a concern maybe there's going to be a trade-off or all this kind of stuff. But you see like these extremely successful, smart people who are friends of mine who have kids and are really happy they have kids. So that's not peer pressure. That's just like a strong signal.
Yeah, that works for people.
That works for people. And the same thing with Mac. It's like like the fun, like I don't see fundamentally, I don't like closed systems. So like fundamentally, I like Windows more because there's much more freedom. Same with Android. There's much more freedom. Yeah. It's much more customizable. But like all the cool kids, the smart kids are using Mac and iPhone. It's like, all right, I need to give it a real chance, especially for development, since more and more stuff is done in the cloud anyway.
Yeah.
Well, anyway. But it's funny to hear you say all the good stuff started happening. Maybe I'll be like that guy too. When I switched to Mac, all the good stuff started happening.
I think it's also about the hardware. It's not so much about the software. The hardware is so well built, right? The keyboard and...
Yeah, but look at the keyboard I use. So.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
That's one word for it. What's your favorite place to work?
On the couch.
Does the couch matter? Is the couch at home or is it any couch?
No, any kind like hotel couch also, like in the room, right?
In the room.
Yeah. But I used to work like very ergonomically with like a standing desk.
Yeah.
And everything like perfect, like eye height, screen, blah, blah, blah. And I felt like, man, this has to do with lifting too. I started getting RSI, like repetitive strain injury, like tingling stuff. And it would go all the way on my back. And I was sitting in a co-working space, like 6 a.m., the sun comes up and I'm working and I'm coding and I hear like a sound or something. So I look left and my neck gets stuck, like, and I'm like, wow, fuck. And I'm like, am I dying? You know? And I thought I'm probably dying.
Yeah,
so
probably
I don't want to die in a co-working space. I'm going to go home and die in like, peace and honor.
Yeah.
So I closed my laptop and I put it in my backpack. Yeah. And I walked to the street. I got on my motorbike, went home. Yeah. And I lied down on like a pillow, like with my legs up and stuff, to get rid of this, like, because it was my whole back. And it was because I was working like this all the time.
Yeah.
So I started getting like a laptop stand, everything ergonomically correct. But then I started lifting. And since then, like, it seems like everything gets straightened out. Your posture kind of, you're more straight. And I never have RSI anymore, repetitive injury. I never have tingling anymore. No pains and stuff. So then I started working on the sofa, and it's great. Like it feels you're close to the. I sit like this.
Yeah,
legs together, and then a pillow, and then a laptop, and then I work.
Are you like leaning back?
I'm kind of like together, like the legs, and then.
Where's the mouse? Using the.
No. So everything's trackpad on the macOS on the MacBook. I used to have the Logitech MX mouse, the perfect ergonomic mouse.
And you're just doing like this little thing with the thing?
Yes.
One screen?
One screen. And I used to have 3 screens. So I come from I know where people come from. I had all the stuff. But then I realized that having it all condensed in one laptop, it's a 16-inch MacBook, so it's quite big. But having it all in there is amazing because you're so close to the tools. You're so close to what's happening, you know? It's like working on a car or something. It's like so... like, man, if you have 3 screens, you look here, look there, you get also neck injury, actually. So it's...
Well, I don't know. This sounds like you're part of a cult and you're just trying to convince me. But, I mean, but it's good to hear that you can be ultra productive on a single screen. I mean, that's crazy.
Command Tab, you Alt Tab, like Windows Alt Tab, macOS Command Tab, so you switch very fast.
So you have like the entire screen is taken up by VS Code, say, you're looking at the code, and then... And then, like, if you deploy like a website, you switch screens?
Command Tab to Chrome. I used to have this swipe screen, you know, you could do like different screen spaces.
Yeah.
I was like, it's too difficult. Let's just put it all on one screen on the MacBook and then...
And you can be productive that way.
Yeah. Very productive, yeah. More productive than before.
Interesting. Because I have 3 screens and 2 of them are vertical. Like on the sides.
Code, right, yeah.
For the code, you can see a lot.
Yeah. No, man, I love it. Like, I love seeing it with friends. Like, they have amazing, like, battle stations, right? Yeah. It's called. It's amazing. I want it, but I don't want it, right? Like,
so you like the constraints.
That's it.
There's some aspect of the constraints which, like, once you get good at it, you can focus your mind and you can...
Man, I'm suspicious of, like, more, you know?
Yeah.
Do you really need all the stuff? Like, it might slow me down, actually.
It's a good way to put it. I'm suspicious of more. Me too. Yeah. I'm suspicious of more in all ways.
Because you can defend more, right? You can defend, I'm a developer. I make money. I need to get more screens, right? I need to be more efficient. And then you read stuff about, like, Mythical Man Month, where like hiring more people slows down a software project that's famous. I think you can use that metaphor maybe for, you know, tools as well. Then I see friends just with gear acquisition syndrome, that buying so much stuff, but they're not that productive. They have the best, most beautiful battle stations, desktops, everything. They're not that productive. And it's also like kind of fun. Like, it's all from my laptop in a backpack, right? It's kind of nomad, minimalist.